Hi guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you a design team project for Country Craft Creations. And I use the paper collection Midnight Potions, which is a very darker type paper. It's using more of a darker color palette than like a bright cherry one. So this paper collection I thought would be perfect for my project. And let me show you what I made. You know, it wouldn't be Halloween if I didn't get you guys a 3D project to go ahead and make. So this is a coffin. So my original thought process was going to make it very similar to a like a medicine cabinet you could open up, but I decided not to add a door and just go ahead and keep some shelves. So it's going to kind of work like a bookcase style. It's got a little picture here and little bones and stuff. So most of this stuff is from my stash. The little skulls are from Tim Holtz. I believe the bottles might be too, as well as the hand. This little bottle here is from Target in their dollar spot or bullseye spot. I don't know what they call it, but that's where that one was from. The flowers here are Prima flowers from Country Craft Creations, and it also came with the little greenery parts for it here. I used some creepy cloth gauze that I got from Michael's a year or so ago, as well as the little spiders. I got those. I added some moss to the bottom. This was also from Target. This little bottle here fit perfect in his hand, and I can actually take it out if I want to. And this is, I think, also maybe a Tim Holtz from a Halloween or two ago, as well as the metal. But anyway, this is so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and create a album that is going to go ahead and slide down in the back here. But it came out so cute. I kind of had this idea in my head and I wanted to do it. Oops. And that just came unglued. And we'll glue that back in afterwards. Too much tossing around. But anyway, this paper collection was perfect. Like I said, it's a darker color palette on this paper, although you could definitely go cute, use the cute Halloween paper on here. But I thought it was something that you guys might enjoy. It's a 3D project, so you know I love to do the 3D projects. So anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and share this with you. I thought it came out super cute. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this, and it's fun. Let me give you a measurement on the height. So this is almost 12 inches. So top to bottom, you can see. So I think it's 11 3/4 is the overall height. It's almost a foot. And then the width-wise on it, you're talking about 7 inches. And then the depth is 4. So it's kind of sort of a standard Halloween, or Halloween, an album size kind of, but it's a decor piece. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I can't wait to show you what the album is going to look like inside when it is all completed, but I just couldn't wait to show you this part of it. So anyway, I hope you like this. I will leave a link down to what I used from Country Craft Creations in a link below. But again, most of this stuff is from my stash. I feel like you guys might have some of this stuff. If you are a Halloween person, it's very possible that you already have similar stuff. But you can just add anything to the shelves. Oh, and then the frame was, I think the little frame was also from Michael's some time ago. And then the sticker is part of a sticker collection from last year where if you move it, it changes. You can see that. To make our coffin, we need to go ahead and create a template. So I have a piece of paper here that is 11 3/4 by 7 inches. And we're going to have to go ahead and make some marks so we can go ahead and create our template. So this is the top. What we're going to do is measure down 4 inches from the top. Tick mark here. and 4 inches here. And then on the top part, I seem to be lagging already. And then across the top part here, we are going to measure over 1 inch and make a mark. And also 1 inch, make a mark. And on the bottom down here, we are going to go ahead and measure over 1 3/8 and make a mark. And same thing here, 1 3/8. So all together now you're going to have 2 marks at 1 inch in on each side right here, 4 inches down, and on the bottom you're going to come over 1 3/8. Now what we need to do is go ahead and connect all of our lines. So this one here, let me see if I got a pencil that has a little better point to it. So we're going to connect those. No, that one don't. Let me sharpen a pencil. All right, hopefully that's better now. So let me reline up. Right there. Just like that. Last one. All right, so that is our template for our coffin. And what I'm going to do on this is I'm just going to make a little X or star. And that way, when I do go ahead and trace these out, every time I set this down, I'm going to go ahead and make a little mark on top of my chipboard. Just because if you don't have these sides exactly identical, if you go to, because what we need to do is cut out 2 pieces of chipboard per side, because we need to make this a little sturdy because it is a box. So we want it to have a little sturdiness. So if you make a little star on the front of every piece that you cut out, that way you know that you're going to line up all the way through, because if you cut this out and then you're flipping your pieces, you may not line up perfect, but you'll know that if you're cutting and using the same ones all the time, that will line up. So let's go ahead and trim it out. And they're pretty straight lines, so. And save this template even after you cut out your chipboard pieces, because you're going to need this to help with pattern paper and things like that. And we will make adjustments along the way, especially when we need to trim it down a little bit. All right, so here is our template. So now I'm going to get some chipboard and trace that out. All right, so here's my chipboard. I'm going to make sure I am level to the bottom here, and my point is all the way to the side. It's just to go ahead and save chipboard. Oops. All right, I have that. My lines are on there, they're just faded. And again, my little star, I'm going to put a little star on the top just so I know, and I'm going to trim that out. So I'll cut this off camera, but you need to go ahead and cut 4 pieces of your coffin, making sure like you're making your mark, so you keep them all the same. I have all of my pieces cut out now, and as I said, I put little marks on them right there and there, so then that way when you put them together, you should line up. If you have to, you might have to trim a little bit. However, if you were to cut them and set them on, depending if you weren't 100% cutting the same, you would have like overlap and stuff, and you'd have to trim too. Actually, this came out really well because it looks like I got both sides lined up. Let's see. Yeah, actually did pretty well. On my sample that I made, I didn't have them exactly where they needed to be. So anyway, now what we want to do is go ahead and tape and glue the two pieces together just to give it some stability. And let me get this. And I'm going to do a little of both just so that way they stay together. And let's add some glue. And we can go ahead and take the tape off. It looks like it has suspenders. Maybe that will be an idea, a coffin with suspenders. You could put a little skull head on top. That would that actually might be kind of cute. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some glue. And again, my star right there. Stand them up. And I'm just using my fingers to make sure I am lined. And same thing with the other one. Take the tape off. And add some glue. Make sure that if you do need any more glue with the cold weather coming soon, that you order from Country Craft Creations your art glitter glue. And I actually have to take inventory on mine because I think I actually might need to order some. I didn't have to order any last year, but I'm pretty certain I am probably needing to order it this year. So I don't think I'll have enough. All right, so make sure to, I don't know if I had said that or not, but save your scraps from when you cut these out, because you're going to have to go through and make strips. And I think my strip's 2 inches. So if you want, you can just go ahead. I'm going to let those dry flat. Why are they not laying flat? Oh, must be my map. All right, I gotta put these somewhere flat because I don't want them to dry not flat. And weight it down. Okay, so what you want to do while that is drying is go ahead and cut 2-inch strips. And I'll just do one, and then we're going to let that dry. So I need to cut 2-inch strips of this. And yeah, so you can get 2 strips out of what you have left. And let me figure out the sizes. So you're going to need 1, let's see, 2. So go ahead and use 3 of your chipboards to cut So make 6 of these all together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out, and then I'll give you the measurements of those. All right, so you actually are only going to need 5 pieces. So out of the 2 together, let me get a marker so you can see it better. So 2 of them you need to cut at 7 3/4. And then you need to cut this one into 2 5s. All right, so let me cut those. All right, so I cut those all down, and the same thing that we just did, we need to go ahead and attach the pieces. And these are going to be for the walls of the coffin box. So again, we're doubling them up because we want to make sure that they are sturdy. Let that one dry. And I cannot wait to make this. I mean, well, I can't wait to make it, but I can't wait to decorate it, because that's where I think all of the real magic comes from. So it will be very fun. And I've been collecting things, small little Halloween things that I've been finding at the stores, so, and probably pulling a bunch of stuff from my stash as well. Okay. Okay. We're going to let those all dry a minute. So right now, all of the pieces to our box. So these will be our sides. We're going to go ahead and cover these with paper, but these will be our sides to our box. Did I mess up? Oops. I made this different than my sample. All right, hold on, let's see. What did I do? Oh, I came in a little more. But actually, I do like the more narrow angle, so let's see how wide. So ignore the 5. We need to do it at 4 inches. So let's lob off an inch off of that guy. So alrighty then. So 4 inches. Yep, okay. I actually like that better. Alright, so we're going 4 inches with that. So back to where I was. We are going to go ahead and cover these all with black cardstock, and we're going to do these the same way we would wrap an album cover, because I want them completely covered over. All right, so one thing I do want to do before I do start wrapping this is, because of the angle of this, it's going to make it a little challenging to get it 100%. So what I want to do is just go through on all of my little corners here, or points, I shouldn't say corners, but all my little points, I want to go through and just hit it with a black Sharpie, because there are going to be some areas that might be a little challenging getting covered. So if you do this now, it'll save you later. So these are the areas, just those ones right there. And if you are not 100% lined up, as you can see, I have a little bit of gap right here. I'm not going to worry about that, only because that will get covered with cardstock and it'll all be even. So if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. So I'm going to finish doing this one and then I'm going to do the other one. You can see all of the areas I just went ahead and covered with the marker. So I have that, and what I want to do is, let's see, cut strips that are 1.5 inches. So let me show you. All right, so I cut a bunch of strips at 1.5 inches, and I'm going to go through and score them all at 3/4. Whoops. Just like that. Those are all scored, and I'm going to go ahead and apply tape to these. Let's see. I don't really want to use the big tape on it. So I'm just going to apply 3/8. And I'm going to put it on. Let me show you. So close to the score line, but not completely over it, to it rather. Because on this, you do have the width of your double chipboard. So I'm going to fold it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap it around. So I'm going to put it on and fold it over. So, and I'll be doing some trimming. So let's see. What if I cut it to length maybe? I haven't done that yet, but so 4 inches. So let's cut it at 4. And I don't want to have a lot of overlapping there. So what I want to do is trim it at an angle. Not a lot, just a little bit. And that's why we go ahead and add the Sharpie. And I'm going to put that right up to the score line, just like that. So that's what I have. And where's my bone folder? And I'm just going to burnish it up so it's nice and wrapped on the edge. Fold it over a little, kind of give it another burnish. Make sure we're good. And I'm pulling as I'm pressing so I get a nice tight wrap around there. All right, and then this guy, he actually might be pretty close to what I need. This one, I think I'm going to trim this one. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Right up to the score line. Let's try it without trimming it. All right, and so I do have that little bit sticking up, so let's see if we can smush that, because I do not like that. All right, let's see if we can trim it. There, that's a little better. But I think I'm just going to go ahead, which isn't too bad actually, and just put a little glue in there. There we go. And that will dry. Not too bad. So right now what we need to do next is cover all of this with some black cardstock. So this was the strips that I cut at 1.5 inches and I scored it 3/4, and then I put tape all around them. So the way that I'm going to go ahead and cover that is I'm going to fold these first. And then the first one, I'm just going to angle up. I want to try to eliminate as much overlapping as possible. So you can wrap this any way you want. This is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and place it on like that. And I'm going to set it right up to the square line. Just like that. And I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to kind of crease it up against the side just to make sure that it's going to be up nice and tight. And then the first thing I want to do is, let's see. So it might be a little confusing, but what I'm going to do is go around to the back side here. So what I'm doing is, you can see where this point is right here. That point is. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of cut right up to where that point is, but I want to make sure that I don't go too far up. So I'm just creating a little cut to make it turn. And this one here, actually, I need to trim it because I don't want to go too far up here because the overlapping is going to be funky if I do that. So I can take that off, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it again right up to the score line. So we have that. And then where this point is there, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. So I have it like that. And then I can just burnish these down. So now to eliminate some overlapping, I'm going to go in at an angle and just cut out a little bit. So then when it folds over, we have that. And that's why we went ahead and added the black Sharpie there, because of that overlapping. Just in case we don't get it exactly where it needs to go. And then same thing with this side. Oops. And then if you feel the need, just go ahead. We're going to cover the black all over anyway with cardstock, but if you want to just be sure, go ahead and hit it. This one overlapped nice, but this one, I actually angled it a little too much, but that's okay. So now we're going to go ahead with the next piece, and I'm going to attach it just the same. You can turn this over, lining it up. And I'm pushing down towards this end because I need to trim this side. So if we go back, you can see the corner here, and I'm going to trim it, this part here. Just like that. And then just bringing it around. And then, as you can see, if you were to go like this and fold it down, that's going to stick out over here. So we're going to trim that. Take that piece right off. And again, lining it up. And not pressing again too hard over. Let's get rid of that piece. Again, now we're going to angle again. So basically I'm cutting this at an angle. So I'm lining up my scissors to the point, and then I can just kind of trim it. And then we're just going to bring it back around again. You can see. And if you line it up to the score line, fold over, you can see where it's going to probably overlap again. Like that. And where's my point? There's our other little point. Same thing again. And as you can see, and then now, so we have all of this. So this part will be easy. You can see where you need to trim it or cut it. So cut there, and cut there. And then just make sure you test everything where you need to angle it. That one, and then this guy will come over. So we're not too bad right here. Yeah, and then this one, I think I'll trim that one just a tad. It's a little too close to the edge. So right there. Like that. And that one looks okay, so I'll just go ahead and stick this one. There we go. Let me clean up some of this. And then we got one more to go. And And we'll do this one same way. Line it up. And I'm going to come over this way and mark my score line. Flip it back. And again. Now this one's going to have to be trimmed. Whoops. And I'm matching up the score line right to the bottom. And then this one. And I can see where this one needs to trim, so, because we're all the way on right there, because that's where we started. There's that one. And then this last one, let's see. If we fold over, we're still good there. You know, I might angle that one just a little bit. And there we go. So that one is done. And the only other thing to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cover these completely with black cardstock, just because I don't know where things are going to get covered at the moment. So I want to go ahead and make those clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm grabbing my template and I'm going to throw it on the top just to see what it looks like. So I'm going to trace this out on black paper. So we'll do that in a second. All right, so keeping in with that little star is on the top. So we're going to line up stars to stars, and then when we do the back side, we're going to know that it would be no stars. Okay, so for this here, because I need to bring it down just a tad bit, I'm using my ruler, and I have the little notches on right there, so when I line it up and cut it, I don't know how well you can see it, but so I can see through my ruler here, and I'm going to line it up just a little bit, and I'll show you. So okay. So this will give me the little bit that I need. And when you do the pattern paper, you're going to do it the same way. So as you can see now, the outside line was my template, and then the inside was the little bit I went in. So now I'm just going to trim all that out. So for easier for me to trim it out, I'm going to go from this way because I can see my lines. And this one. And then I forget the bottom piece. Okay. Like that. And then this will go right on here and cleans it all up nice. So you're going to go ahead and cut 4 of them, and you're going to put these on both front and back. Just make sure before you do attach it, it'll be easier. Clean up any pencil lines that you might still have showing. When you're adding your tape or adhesive to the back of your piece, make sure you do put full tape coverage on this part, because we are going to have shelves that are going to be on the front of one of these pieces. So you don't want your shelves to be lifting on the center of the paper because it's not completely attached. And that will just cause a lot of mess down the road when your shelves pull your paper away. So you want to make sure that you have full tape coverage or adhesive, glue, whatever you want to do, through the middle of it as well. And there you go. That cleans up most of it. All right, so go ahead and do this to the other 3 sides. I have these fully covered now. So now the next step is we need to cover these, and these we're going to cover just as if we are covering an album cover. So because these are smaller, I'm only doing 3/4 of an inch all the way around versus doing 1 inch. So for that, what I did was just put my ruler on and 3/4, so that would put me at 3.5, and 3/4 would put me at 5.5. So that's what I cut right here. And just so I know I'm going to get this even, I'm going to just trace out a couple lines just as guides. Just like that. And then this is just going to get set right in like there. Just like that. And then the other thing I do want to do again with a Sharpie, because we did double up the chipboard so it's a little thicker than normal, I'm just going to go in and hit these very corners here. Same thing. And I probably could have done it before I stuck it down. Probably would have been easier. Most of this is going to be, I think actually this will all be covered up, but just in case, I want to make sure that nothing's going to show. And then I'm going to trim it. Actually, you know what? We'll put tape on it, then trim it. I love my tape tearer. And I love the fact like I can just change out the tops. Although I do probably am going to leave the skull on because that's just me. But if you wanted to, you can always get different knobs to change out for the holiday season. Alright, so I'll show you this one, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other two off camera because you don't need to see me do that. And then just fold them. And then start with the sides. Stick that one down. And then over here. And I'm going to just take and I'm smushing down the paper. And this one. So now go ahead and do the same thing to the longer pieces. Make sure like if there's any overlap, just kind of really give it a push down. So that's what we have right now. So go ahead and do it to the other two pieces. Alright, so I have all of my pieces covered. I didn't do this side yet because I will do that after it's on. So for this piece here, because we have covered over what our little marks are, figure out which way they line up. And you should be able to tell because they're not going to fit exactly. So this one here, I believe, is like this. So we want, when we attach our sides, we want to make sure it's like this. So that way these two here will actually line up with our hinges. So everything will be even. So I'm going to put that aside. We have these pieces here. These are going to go to the inside of our box because, like I said, we can do the outsides after, but I want nice, clean, covered pieces on the inside. So I went ahead and I have a piece right here. Another hinge, and I'm going to cut the hinge at 2 inches wide. So I'm going to need 2 for now. I have those, and I need my bottom piece and my top piece. So the bottom pieces, whoops, are going to go like this. So this piece here, these are going to fit on the outside of that bottom piece. So these are going to go on the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this back. So this is 2 inches. I just want to trim it so I don't have any overhang. And this is going to go on the top. Tape off, and it's going to go on the top right up to the edge there. And then we're going to do the same thing to this piece. And right up to the edge. Whoops. Now, let me turn it around so I can't see well the other way. So now we have our little flaps. These guys we are going to put on right here and attach that over. So I'm putting it on, I'm kind of putting it at a little angle because my coffin obviously is at a little angle. I don't want to go straight up because I don't want to make that paper tight. So I'm just putting a little angle on it, and I'm just going to stick it over. Just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I can go ahead, take the tape off of there, putting it on, giving it a little angle. I'd rather go too much than not enough, because you can always bring it in. You can only go out so far. So that's what we have right now. Let's go back to these two pieces. So making sure I have which is which. So if I want to, because I know this is going to be the front, I'm just going to put a little X on this one here, and then move this off, and then this guy is going to go right here. And I should be somewhat lined up, just like that. So for now, what I'm going to do is set this aside, and I'm going to get my glitter glue, and I'm going to flip it over and add glue. I'm going to cover all this with hinges, but for now, I just want to get it into position. And I'm going to set it on. Just like that. Clean up my little mess. So we're going to go ahead and let that kind of glue on. I'm going to pause a moment because somebody is having a meltdown and he's going to scream. Alright, so that is gluing, and I took another hinge, and I want to go ahead and put the hinge in here to kind of give it a little more stability. So I cut the hinge at the length of my coffin side piece here. So just testing it. I want to make sure I don't have overhang, so I'm going to give that a little more of an angle. And it looks like I have to cut the point off. And if that is open, still hanging off. This is why we test everything. Anyway, we look good right there. So that is going to go in just like that. And this way our box is not going to fall apart. So now right now I'm going to go ahead and cut a 4-inch piece. I'll keep testing it. And I'm going to cut another piece for the side over here. Alright, so I went ahead and attached that, and I can already feel how much sturdier and stronger this is. So now what I want to do is go ahead and create more hinges, but I want to put them on this top part here. So when I do go ahead and stick this piece down, I will basically be able, to do the same thing. So the inside will be nice and sturdy against that part there. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 more hinges that are 7 3/4. I'm going to give them a good angle so that way they don't overhang here once I put it together, and then 1 down here. I cut my hinges to go ahead and put in now. So I'll show you how we're going to do it. So This is the bottom piece. And this is going to go right like this, and then it'll be up. So hold on. Take this off. I'm going to put this all the way to the top. And then this is what we have right here. So when this piece goes on, I'll just reach down with my hand to stick it. And then these ones here. So this piece, because it's going to be at the top up here, I'm going to give it quite the angle. Like that. And then this one I can just give a normal angle too. Because I'm going to put this one on just like that, and it looks like it'll fit perfect. There we go. If you want to, before we stick that other piece on, we can kind of attach those a little bit right there. And then that one's going to be the big angle, normal angle, and then I think this one I just need to cut this part a little bit. Okay. And I'm just using my finger as a guide so I get it right. So we'll have it just like this. So what I'm going to do before I go ahead and stick on that piece, I think, because this is going to go on here just like this, I feel like I would like to go ahead and maybe add some pattern paper to this part here, just so it'll be a little easier to go ahead and put it on. So let's find some paper. Okay, so for my coffin inside piece, I'm going to use this one here. And just to be sure that I am going to go ahead and do my template right, I just checked it. And because I must have flipped things around a little bit, this is the way it goes here. So if I flip it over like this, I want this part to be like this. So the one with my star is actually going to go down. And the way I cut out that other piece, the black that we traced out and then trimmed down a little bit, we're going to go ahead and cut this one exactly the same way. So I'm going to trace it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and size it down a little bit. And stick it on. I know you can't really see that a little bit, but you saw how we cut the black one, so I'm going to cut that piece exactly the same way, and I'll show you before I stick it down. Alright, so I cut this piece out. I'm going to set it in here. I did have to make some minor trimming adjustments, so I knew it would fit, but we are all good now, so I can stick it down. And you can definitely do this afterwards. I'm just going to try it to see how it goes doing it before I attach the other piece, so I don't have to fight with it or anything. But and stick this in here. Looks good like that. There we go. I think that makes a nice pretty inside look to the coffin box part. So obviously now this is going to be my back piece, so you can just move on from there. So over here now, what I'm going to do is this off. Sticking those pieces together, and then this one. And that one like that. And this is going to go right on top. So I'm going to use glue first so I can get it set where it needs to go. And then I will go ahead and stick it down. So once I do get it attached, that's what we're going to have. So let's get some glue on. And if I don't take this piece off first, I'm never going to get it off. So let's take these off. We're just not going to press on anything. And we should be good for a bit. Okay, and so I'm going to hold it nice and steady. And I'm going to work on making sure each side at a time. And I also want to make sure that I am flush to the bottom here, so I'm not, so it'll sit nice. So when it's where I think it needs to go, we're just going to push down on the glue and give that a second. And what I can do is, if I know I'm good, I can just reach in underneath and kind of adhere some of that tape. And it's wide enough so I can definitely stick my hand in. And we have that. Looks nice. All right, so now what I want to do is go ahead, add some hinges to the outside area here, just so it is all going to be nice and tidy. So the same thing with the hinges on the inside. I'm now going to do them all the way around to the outsides. So I went ahead and I cut some hinges. Just when you're measuring the bottom piece here, just use your ruler and see what it is end to end, because the center piece here is a little shorter because it was 4 inches and we had to accommodate for the side pieces. So I cut that hinge at 4 1/4, but we'll see when we go ahead and place it on what we're going to need to do. So I'm going to take my hinges and I'm going to angle them again. And that again is just to try to create, try to eliminate some of the overhang. So I'm going to go ahead and place it on just like that. So I'm going to, so the sticky part is on the top. I'm going to be working with this side because it has the tape on it still. So I can make sure I'm where I need to go. And then this one here, take this off. I'm going to use my bone folder and just kind of make sure my crease is really clean. So right there. And let's do the other side first. Test it out. Looks good. Same thing again. I'm going to hold the side because it has the tape on it and I could move it into place. Take that off and then go ahead and crease that down. Right there. So it's cleaning up that edge. And then the same thing for the bottom. So let's go ahead and fold this one first and then we'll test it. So I'm going to start off by trimming it. And that actually looks pretty good. I do want to angle, give it a little sharper angle. Looks good. Same thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this side, clean it all up, and don't forget you do have to do some on the bottom here just to keep that all clean as well. All right, so I'm going to do that and then we'll go on to the next. Alrighty, so I'm not sure where I left off. I didn't bother go to watch last video and it's been a few days, so just in case, let me catch you up to speed, or I'm just recapping. So I did put the pattern paper on that back side. I've not done the other side yet. This is going to be my front. So now we got to have to build up our sides. So what you're going to need is, these are all cut at 1.5 inches. And you need 2 pieces at 7 3/4 by 1/2 inch. And then your bottom piece, which is going to be, well, let me put on here, by 4.5. And then your 2 side pieces that are going to be 4 1/8. And your top piece that's going to be 4 3/4 by 1.5. So these are how your pieces are going to be. We are going to go ahead and cover these just like we did these side pieces. So we're going to cover them as if we're covering album covers. And then we're going to go ahead and attach everything. So the way this will work, just so you know for a future part, is this piece here is going to be the inside piece. And these 2 pieces are going to go on the outside. And then these pieces here will just kind of butt up against each other. And then this piece here also will be, this one will be the inside piece, and your pieces are going to get attached. These ones are going to go on the outside. So that's how we're going to go ahead and build the frame. So right now, go ahead and cover all these pieces. Then let me cut a piece, and I'll do one with you, and then we'll just follow through with the rest. So real quick, just to figure out the sizes, we're going to go with 3/4 of an inch to wrap around. Do I want 3/4? Actually, you know what? Let's go 1/2 inch. So we're going to go 1/2 inch. So we're going to cut it 5. That will give us 1/2 inch on each end by 2.5. So I just cut this piece 5 by 2.5. And I'm going to go ahead and score at 1/2 inch here and then rotate it and 1/2 inch there. So we have a little L. And I'm going to go ahead and add some tape. So we'll do it on this side. I want to be able to kind of see my measurements. I might go through afterwards with a little pencil and just write on it so I know when I put it together what parts will be what. Okay, have that. And then here's our little L. You can see my score lines. I'm going to put this right in it, just like that. And now I'm going to wrap it with some tape. And we're going to do this to all the pieces, and then we can attach them. Okay, and then my little corner guy. Alright, my video was lagging. I don't know why it keeps lagging. I even went through and deleted a bunch of old videos, hoping that would help. And then on this one here, the ends, we're just going to kind of wrap them around. And then make sure we push these little corners down so they're as flat as you can get them. All right, and I can still kind of see my measurement there. If not, I would just go ahead and write, like this one, I would know this one's actually the bottom. So go ahead and wrap all your pieces just like that. Okay, so I went ahead, everything is covered, and then I cut little paper hinges. These are 1.5, actually 1.5 by 1.5. Scored at the middle, and I'm just trimming them back a little bit. So then we can go ahead and attach them all together. So I don't want any overhang. So I am only giving them just cutting off a little bit. And you need 6 of these, if I figured right. Oops. Okay. And as far as labeling the pieces, honestly, you only need to label the one that's the top and one that's the bottom, because the other sides, I mean, you have sides, so you can tell, obviously, how big they are. So honestly, you only have to cover those. So for this one here, I am going to, let's think about this. So these need to go on the outside of this piece. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and add our little hinges to the bottom piece. And we're going to go right up to the edge. So as you can see, I am right on the edge. And we're going to put one on the other side. Just like that. And then let's go ahead and take the tape off of this side. So on this piece here, this is our side piece that is 7 3/4. We're going to stick it to the desk, bring it right up, make sure that we are level. And remember, this is going to the outside. Oops. This is going to the outside. So just make sure and give it a little bit of an angle, because obviously we're going to angle it for the coffin. So when you put your tape on, you want to be able to give it a little bit of an angle. So just a little, not a lot. Going just like that. And it's not going to go all the way back. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing to this side. This side's going to go up. Let's take the tape off. Straight to the desk. Right up. Make sure we are lined up even. A little bit of an angle. Stick it on. Okay. And if you want, take our piece, make sure we're doing good. Looks good to me. So I am making sure that I did cut the right size. As you can see, if you lay it right over the top, we are lined up perfect. Okay. There's that. If we want, we can just put that aside. Let's go ahead and work on these pieces. So again, doing the same thing. We're going to take the top piece, because the top piece is going this. So the 2 side pieces are going to go to the outside. So again, let's put these on the top piece. To the edge. Just like that. And then we're going to do these the same way. Give it right up to the desk. Right up to that piece. And we're going to angle this one as well a little bit. And I'm just going to turn it, same thing. Good. And then let's just test it, make sure we look good. And we do. And then for the side pieces now, these ones here. So let's go ahead and just add it. Doesn't matter. Right up to the edge. And let's do this side. Just like that. So then we have these little flaps, and we can just go ahead, attach these, like just connect them, because we don't have to like layer them, just put them together, and we're just going to stick that up. And then the other side. And we're just buttoning that one up. And then let's set it on top and see how we seem to line up. Looks perfect to me. So now what we need to do is go ahead and create some more hinges. We're going to layer them all the way around here, and then we're going to stick this down on top. And then once that's all adjusted, we'll go ahead and add some hinges to these outsides here, just to clean that up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch more paper hinges. And I think I'll keep the same size, 1.5 inches, cut 1.5 inches, and then by the length. All right, so I cut all of my paper hinges the same length I cut the chipboard. And what I'm doing is just going to go ahead, folding them, and then we're just going to trim them up a little bit, and then we might actually have to trim them as we put them in. So we'll do that as we go. So I think the easiest way to do it is, these are the long, no, which ones are these? That's the long one. So I think the easiest way is going to be just to lay them down and set them in. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go and set them all in just like this, and I'll be trimming as I go, because like this one here, I can already see that these little corners here are going to get hung up. So just going to trim them back a smidge, and looks good. So remove it from one side. So I just added that like that. And if you look at it this way, we have that. Make sure we're down good. And I'm just going to keep going around doing that. So what size did I cut this guy? This one, oh, should have been 4 3/4. I don't have anything that wide. So 4 3/4 is the top one. So maybe my next project will be a spaceship. And that looks good, so I'm going to stick that one down. And that's these guys. So this one needs some trimming. now this is where we're at. So I'm just going to put the other 3 sides on. I'm not going to bother wasting a bunch of video. Alright, as you can see, I have it all on, just like that. So now what we're going to do is attach this to the top. So I think the best way to go about this is I'm going to start with my bottom piece and make sure that is lined up. So when I stick the bottom piece on, I'm going to make sure that we are lined up just like that. So let's take the tape off. And I'm going to set it on top, making sure I'm all lined up. And I'm lining up to the bottom. So right now I'm lined up like that. We're put finishing hinges over these to clean all those up. So I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to go to the top. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. Making sure, again, I am lined up. And there's that. And now we just have our sides. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just bring the sides over. And I think I will go with, do the longer one first. Okay. And then I'll turn around and let's do the back side. Same thing, I'm just pulling it to the edge. So you can see we're all lined up. And now we just have the little tops here. And last one. And there we go. So look at that. So cute. So I'm glad that I didn't go ahead and add any pattern paper to the back side, because I'm going to go ahead and flap my hinges over that so that's all nice and clean, so we don't have all of that. So we're going to go ahead and create a bunch more paper hinges, and we're going to clean it all up. I think I'll put one strip right down the middle here. Same thing down here and over here. And then we'll just do the corners and stuff right there. Make it all pretty. Anyway, that is so cute. So now we just got to clean all that up, and then we're going to make some shelves. But let's get it all finished up and attached nice. So what I did was I went ahead and cut some little hinges. These are 1.5 inches. They're the width of my front here. So what I'm going to do is just go through and put these on all of the corners just to kind of keep these together, because there's not a lot here. So I want to go ahead and just attach those. So I'm going to put one here, 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 and here. I was going to put something over this, but I'm probably going to end up just covering it all with pattern paper. So I don't think I really need to cover that part over. So I'm just going to add it to those spots there just to make it a little more sturdy. So I need to cut out some pattern paper, and I don't want to lose my current template just because if I want to use it again, I have it and I'm not sure if I'll need it again. So I'm going to make another one because I need to size down this one for pattern paper. So just tracing it out, because we have to add shelves to the front of our coffin. However, I want to cut out and make sure that the pattern paper is going to fit in here first. That way I know I have like all of these measurements, and then I can just trim the pieces as needed to fit into the spots for the shelves. But I'm going to use this guy as my background. I thought he'd be kind of cute there. So what I need to do is make this a little smaller. So I'm going to write down original so I don't, whoops, so I don't accidentally use it. And now I'm going to go in. So on my ruler here, I have that first line, this one right here. I think it's a 1/16 of an inch. And that's where I'm just lining this up on my pencil line. And I'm just going to retrace all around. And if I need to make it smaller, I can adjust it. And then I'm going to cut that out. Right, that's what I have, and I'm cutting on the inside line here. And the last piece. All right, let's see if we fit. And it looks good. Okay. So then now I'm going to trace out this onto this guy and cut him as well. So let's hope. Wish he was over a little more, but he looks okay. So we're just going to do the same thing again. Trace it out and cut it out. Alright, so he's all traced out and fit in there. So on the paper, when I first put it down, I put it on and I put it down towards the bottom. But then I liked this up here, so this was the one I originally traced. And then I moved it up to the top. And so that way I could get that saying on the top there. So if it looks different from when I showed you to cutting it out, that's why, because I went to the top, because that actually kind of centers it all out right there, just like that. So anyway, this piece is going to get put aside till I go ahead and make my shelves. And it will line up actually pretty good, because the first shelf is going to go from here to here. And then a second shelf will go somewhere down here. So we'll still get to see this part of it, or at least some of it maybe, just because we're going to like add all kinds of goodies to it. Or I'm going to add kind of goodies to it that I've went around finding from the different stores with all the Halloween stuff. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and work on our shelves. The shelves are going to be done the exact same way we made these. We're just going to cover them up and then make little flaps and stick them in, and then we'll do one further down too. So we'll do like 2 of them. All right, so depending on if yours was any different kind of adjustment, let me show you how to measure for your shelf. So we're going corner to corner right here. And what I'm doing is laying my ruler on and seeing what my measurement is. So as you can see, it's not quite 7. So you can see on this side here where the 7 is. Oops, I'm actually squishing it. So this shelf here that I'm going to cut is actually going to be 6 7/8, because if I go 7 inches, it's going to take me right to this part, and I want the shelf to sit inside. So just go ahead and measure yours to see how far in it fits. But I'm going to do mine at 6 7/8, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in there, and then I'll test it first before I wrap it. But just go ahead and do the same thing, kind of measure and see. If you're not 100% sure, make it a little longer. You can always trim before you put the cardstock on it. All right, so I cut this at 1.5 inches wide by 6 7/8, and as you can tell, if I go to put it in here, it's not quite fitting. So I'm just going to trim it down a little more. And I'm just going to guess. I think I only need a sliver or so off, so that's what we're going to do. But you don't want to go through all the work of building it and then finding out that it's not going to fit. So. And it's still a little tight, so we're going to trim a little more, because don't forget, when you do put the cardstock wrap around it, it's going to take up some of the spacing. It's going to add to your width. So you want to make sure that it's going to fit without bulging your sides. So that looks good. I feel like might need just a smidge more, because I know when I put that cardstock on it, it's going to take up some space. So we're just going to go with a sliver. And a sliver, I mean like, you can't even see it, a sliver. All right, and then once I wrap the paper around it and then put my little hinges on, we are going to sit nice and tidy there. So let's see how far up. 4 inches, 3.5. Let's go up 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is putting this on the side here at 3.5. Oops. So lining up the 3.5 over here. Making a little mark. And same thing over here. And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to measure from mark to mark and see how far I have to go. Now this one's not going to matter too much, because even if it's off, you just can find the spot where it's going to fit nice. This up here was a little more because of I want it to fit in where these little corners are. So this one's not going to matter too much. So this one, I'm going to cut it at 5 3/8 by 1.5. All right, so I have that guy, and then there's my little marks right there. So if I put this in, it'll be pretty close to those marks. And like I said, if it's a little off, you have all this room to play with here, so you can just adjust your height so it will fit in when we go to put it in. All right, so for this piece and this piece, we're going to wrap those just like we did the side. So you've already wrapped enough times, you already know what you're doing there, so go ahead and wrap them. All right, so I went ahead and wrapped these. So we don't really have to worry too much about putting anything over here because I'm going to put some pattern paper on here. And then this way too, if I do it towards the upside of it, when I put the pattern paper on, we're going to hide our little hinges here that we're going to put on. So I cut these at 1.5 inches. They're the height of the length of that part there. So what we're going to do is trim these all. And you're going to need 4 for each shelf. And you're going to need some more for your shelf, but we'll do that afterwards. This is just going to be to place our shelf. Okay. So let's go with the big one first because that's the one that will be a little more challenging, and then this one here will be easy peasy. So what you're going to do is go ahead and on each shelf put your little hinge all the way to the edge. So we're going all the way to the edge of that, right up, okay, and then flip it over. You can actually tuck this one under, and then this one is going to go right there. Probably should have made sure they fit because I can see that one's just a tad too big. So that's what you got. You're going to do the same thing to the other end. And this guy. I cannot wait to decorate this. It's going to be so fun. So this is currently what we have. Little flappy doodles. All right, so we're going to go with that part up. We're going to stick it in here. And as you can see, we're going to line it up from right there to there. So to start with, seeing how looks like I can get rid of all of those. So I am making sure, and this will also help hold your piece together. So right now I look like I'm good. I'm just checking the angle to make sure I'm not tilted at all. And we're just going to stick it. And I'm just pushing towards here now because this side is all stuck. And I'm just pushing towards here just in case we're not tight up against it. And there you go. That is your first shelf. So we're also going to add a little hinge to the back, whoops, to the back here, because I don't know about the weight. Depending on what you put on this, it might be a little weighty and I don't want it to sag. So I'll probably don't want to do it. Yeah, we'll add a hinge to the top and to the bottom there. But let's go ahead and put on our next shelf. All right, so this piece is all ready to go. Same thing now. So I'm going to put it in and I'm going to kind of use those lines as a guide. But I can already tell that because of my pattern paper, it is going to be a little not quite to my lines here. So I'm going to put it in where it feels comfortable on one side. And I'm pushing in again right here. so that way it's going to be tight. And now for this part, I'm going to stand it up so I know I can get it even, because right now I can't really tell. Well, maybe I could. Let's measure. Let's see where we're at. So that's 4, 4, 5/8. Actually, that's not bad. So it's actually pretty good right there. So I'm going to just remove the paper. Stick one side down. I'm just going to double check it. Looks good. So I'm just going to kind of push in a little. Let's just double check it standing. Yeah, looks good. All right, so that's that. I'm just going to make some little hinges up here and here. I think I'm going to do, we'll do top and bottom. Why not? All right, so I just cut 2 hinges, and what I did was measure the length right here on the bottom underside, which 5 inches is pretty good. So to test it out, I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there. Make sure it's going to fit. And then this one is going to go right here. And that's just going to give our shelf a little more security from possibly not sagging. That. And then the bottom one. Ooh, the wind is whistling. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for the top. And that will keep our shelf a little more secure. So if we do weight it down with some stuff, we don't have to worry about it coming off. So then the top one here, I'm just going to measure, and I'm going to go 6.5 inches on that. And then I'll just do that one. All right, so I went ahead and added a hinge there, and then on the underside. So those are all good. So the only other thing I want to do before I add pattern paper is I want to take the bottom, and I already cut it out, but I want to show you. I just want to clean this up because we're not going to be putting pattern paper on the bottom. So mine happens to be 4 1/8 by 3 3/4. So all I'm going to do is just attach that to the bottom just to clean that bottom up, and then that's it. And then we are going to go ahead and start adding our paper. That is going to be so much fun. So I'm going to attach this, and then we'll work on that. That's the bottom. I went ahead and covered that up. So now we're going to go ahead and use this piece. So we do have to adjust for the shelf. So the best way probably would be to set it on and make some marks and then trim it. So I turn my volume down. I think my phone is going to go make noises. So let's see. All right, so to start with, I'm pushing it, kind of pushing it up to the top here. And then I can just hold it. Make a mark there. And mark there. And then I can trim it. So because I have the shelf, I know that I do have to trim away a little bit. So first one. So it kind of fits, kind of not. So now I know I can trim this one down a little more. So I think I'm going to take a little off the, no, should I take the top of the bottom? I'll take a little off the bottom. It's the wider spot. So I'm only going probably a 1/16 at the actual width of chipboard. That looks good there. So now we'll move on to this guy. Same thing again. I'm pushing it up against that, and I can see where my shelf is. And needs to be trimmed, and I think this one I'm going to trim the wider spot again. It just makes more sense to do the wider spot on the top, because if you take off from the bottom, the top won't be able to, whoops, I slipped a little bit. The top won't be able to come down because this is wider than like down here. So if you don't trim it at the wider end, if you do it at the lower end, it's still not going to sit right. So there's that one. And okay, same thing. I need a little more. Yay, there we go. So that's going to be the back part of it. So I'm going to take them out, I'm going to ink them and stick them down. Okay, so paper is all on. Love it. So for the side walls here, I grabbed this piece, and what I want to do is I'm going to cut it. So these are 1.5 inches. So if we do it at 1.25 inches, that would be basically what we would normally wrap with. So what I want to do on this is I'm going to cut strips at 1.25 inches. However, because of the side here and down here, it has this fancy little decorative stuff. I'm going to put those, I think we're going to do it opposite. So like this will be more towards the back coming out, and it'll kind of give a little decorative element to it. So like this side will go here, and then this side over here will go there. So let me cut those down to 1.25 inches. All right, so these, I cut them down, they're 1.25 inches. So what I'm going to do is they're going to go on the inside here. So to do that, we are going to measure, looks like that's going to be 4 inches. So from this one, because I want this one over there, whoops, because I want this one over here, I'm going to measure 4 inches. And looks like it will fit nice right there. And then we're going to do the bottom one next, only because I want to keep this here. So this one is, looks like, actually I need to trim that one down because I actually 4 inches is all the way and I don't want it all the way. So I'm going to trim that one a little. Better. So I brought that one down to 3 7/8. So let's go ahead and cut this one. I'd rather make it a little bigger and trim, so I'm going to go 3.5 to start. And that looks good, so I gotta trim it a little. So I'm trimming from this end here because I don't want to touch that. That's good. And then I have my middle piece now. As you can see, that's kind of where we're going with it. Do I want to go that way or should I? Hold on. Let's see. Actually, I think I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to put them so they're going that way instead. I kind of like it like that instead of out. Okay, change of plans. We're going that direction. So then I need to cut for this side. So it looks like 3 3/4, but we'll see. And actually it was perfect. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to ink them and stick them. So that's what we're looking like right now. So what I'm going to do now is I want to go ahead and use the same paper to cover my shelves. So I'm going to use the same paper to cover up here, 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 and here. And now I'm going to cut it going lengthwise. That way I can keep it in the direction I want. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those and do the same thing. And then I'll show you again, they're just going to be at 1 1/4 inches. And then we'll just finish everything up. So that is the whole inside. It looks awesome. So the only other thing I do want to do was I decided looking at it, I didn't like the spacing in here on these. So I'm going to make some more finishing hinges and just wrap this part here to clean that part up. Because I did kind of like how clean it looked, but I don't like the spacing. To figure out the size of my finishing hinges, I just measured across and I have 5 inches. So I cut a piece at 5 and I'm just going to put it over like this, but I am going to angle it. And then I will do the same thing to the sides. And that will just clean all of that up. So you can see right there. And let's see. I think I need to trim a little bit. Just like that. So I'm going to do the same thing to the side, measure that, and trim all that up. So now we're going to go ahead and decorate the sides. This is what it looks like, how I finished out all of that. So it looks nice and cleaned up now. So I'm going to go ahead and use this pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and cover the sides, this, this, and this. So it'll all be the same, and then I'll probably do something on the back side here and then the back side. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and add this all the way around. So I already measured and cut that one. So I'm going to stick it on. So I'm going to just hold this way because I know that's not going to stick. And I want to add some glue, so just like that. And go ahead and remove my tape. I did go ahead and ink that already. And yeah. And then I'm just going to add some glue. I did the same thing on the sides. When I put my sides down, I taped and glued. Just because I'm not quite sure how well my tape is going to stick. I have noticed sometimes my tape does seem to come off, and then we can put a little extra in that seam so nothing pops. So I'm going to go ahead and get the whole sides done in the top, and then we'll see what it looks like. So I'm going ahead and I'm going to put paper on the back of here. However, I traced this one out because I thought it would be cute. But then looking at it, I'm like, oh, that would make a great album cover. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put this one aside and I'll trim it down a little more because I need it a little smaller for an album cover. And then I did this one and I was like, darn it, I like this one as an album cover too. However, I think I'm going to go with this one on the back only because I do need to make it smaller for an album, and I will cut into the bottles sign. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and place on the back. So the next step, what I want to do is I got the silver metallic flakes and I kind of just want to add a little bit in different places on my coffin. So I did kind of put a little bit right there just to see how it would look. It's cute. So I have the gilding glue, and then I have in silver, the metallic flakes. Now I use this on the bee clock that I did with it was the copper and the gold. I think I might have had to mix the silver. So it was a lot of different colors with it. So it was really pretty. So what I'm going to do is go ahead. Let me get some paper. And I'll put some glue on the paper, and then I'm just going to dabble it on in a few different spots. So let's go over to the front. And this is just to add an element to it. I don't know kind of like what I want to do yet for decoration. So I figured in some of the spots, I can just add a little bit, and I'm just using my brush to kind of dab some on. And now what you want to do is let that kind of dry so it becomes tacky. So right now you can see it's kind of white, and then when it gets dry it's going to go clear, and then it will be tacky, and then you can put your stuff on. And then I'm using a brush that kind of has, I probably could use a stiffer brush, but I don't think I have one. I'll have to look and see real quick while that's drying. And you put the flakes on, and then you use the brush to kind of get any excess off. And you can see like right there, I know it's hard, the camera's not picking it up very well, but at first when I did it, I had a straight line in it, and I don't want anything straight. I want to keep it kind of some texture and just in random places. So I'm going to let that dry so I can show you how that looks. It looks like it's actually drying pretty good. So we'll go ahead and put some on. I didn't go too thick with it, so it's not going to take long to dry. And I just want to go ahead and put these on. Be careful not to breathe too much, because if you breathe, it's going everywhere. But this is really fun to work with. When I made that bee clock, I really enjoyed playing with this stuff because it kind of really gives it a transformation, and it's kind of unexpected. So I'm just going in random areas, and I'm putting it on to where I don't feel any sticky with my finger. So I know I got it everywhere. And then you just start brushing it to get any of the bigger flakes. It does make a mess. And like I said, you can't breathe. But the more you keep getting it, it's just going to, see, it just flew everywhere. See, and like that texture right there is perfect. So let's see, like right there. It's kind of like what I'm going for, so it looks neat. And it's fun. I don't think they have a black. I would love if they had a black flake, because I think that would be pretty. And you can also hide any kind of imperfections. So like right here, I had a lot of the cardstock showing, so it really kind of hid that a little bit. I can also go ahead and do that with some embellishments later. So, but you can also do embellishments and stuff to go ahead and hide any areas that the paper didn't line up right or whatever Alright, so let's move on and add some more. I don't know why my video is so slow. You definitely don't want to be doing this with a window open or a fan on. And I actually happen to have my window closed. It's also cold, but this would be flying all over the place. So there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just putting it wherever I think it will look good and where I might not be able to get some embellishments. So I think that might. And where else? Let's get that dry first, and then I'll go ahead and see where. I don't want to go too crazy putting it everywhere. So I don't want to do a lot. I just want to do a little bit to add a little bit of fun. I think that one looks dry. And you can feel with your finger where it is and isn't sticky. That's sticky there. That's sticky right there. And I don't feel no more. So I get my brush. And once you get a lot of it off, you're not going to have any flaking because it will be stuck. You can see it does make a mess. Just a little bit of touches. Whoops, I keep breathing. It's just floating. That was funny. They're still sticky right there. All right, and I cannot wait to decorate this. This is going to be so much fun. And this was the last step. Just a little bit of touches. And I got up here to go. Nice big ones. All right, so I'm going to do this one with you, and then I'm going to do the rest off camera because there's no point in showing you the same step over and over. And then I'll show you afterwards all of what I put on and the mess that I'm making. Oops. And you can see that corner right there. It looks nice on the corner. So anyway, I'm going to keep adding some more on it, and then when I'm all done, I'll show you what I did. Alrighty. So this is what I have. Added a little bit over here. Right there, you saw me do those spots. So I didn't really add too much more from the video. I don't know how I'm going to decorate it, so I don't want to go too crazy with it, but I just want parts where you can see from the other embellishments and stuff on it. So anyway, it's time to decorate. Oh, I have a little sticky here still. I think I felt it somewhere. But anyway, I'm all set to start add embellishments. I'm super excited to see how that's going to turn out. All right, so it's time to go ahead and add some decoration to it. I don't know how much I'm going to show you because I'm just grabbing stuff from my stash. But to start with, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put some of this on. This is some Halloween gauze I got from Michael's last year, I believe it was. So we're just going to go ahead, stick some on, and trying to see how I'm going to put it on. So let's see. Maybe if I go under like that, and then I can put some embellishment right there. And something tells me that this is not going to happen right now. All right, and then this right here, let's trim it. And I'm going to just kind of put it in the corner, something like that. I'm going to put something on the top here so that stays down. Kind of like that. All right, so I also have these Graphic 45 roses. And is there a number on them? Photogenic black. Oops. Right there. So let's go ahead and glue some of these on. All right, so I added some more of the gauze right there. And let's see, where can I put this? Maybe I will set that something like that. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and stick these right on here. So start with that guy. And then the bigger rose, I'm going to kind of stick on the edge here. And the smaller one, probably right there. Let's see. Maybe like that. Not so sure if I'm liking those there. Let's see. Let me see. All right, actually, I do like them there, so we're going to keep it. And sounds like a racetrack outside my house tonight. I like that there. And then this one, do I want to do it at the top? Or do I want to do it at the bottom? I don't know. I think the top might be pretty, so let's go with the top. And that'll help keep the gauze on too. And let's see. Go. A little right there to hold it. Okay, and what else do I got? Let's throw that one right there. And then I'll stick that one on the inside. Yeah, that's kind of pretty. I like that. All right, so let's, I think now I'm gonna go look for stash stuff. I have this little tombstone I found. Kind of cute. All right, let me go see what I can find in my stash. All right, so I found a few little goodies that I want to go ahead and play around with and try sticking in here. So I really like this big skull. It might be a little too big. I'm not sure, but I really kind of like him peeking out right here. So I think I'm just going to kind of set him in there. Have to glue him in though, but I really do think he's going to be kind of unique right there. So slap on a bunch of glue and I'm just going to stick him in there. And I'm going to have to, maybe I'll add some glue right there. Kind of help keep that flower in place too. That's kind of cute. I like that. I know the camera's kind of washing out a little bit. So, and then I have one of these Tim Holtz hands. And I think I'm going to stick that right there. But I had a little bottle and it does hold it. Isn't that cute? So I think I'm going to hot glue that. Should I put it by the flower though? Or maybe in the middle? I'm going to put that in the middle. So I'll kind of have like some, kind of like a statement piece almost on each shelf. That's kind of funny. I have some pumpkins. I wanted to add some color to it, but I don't know. Can I put a skull on the pumpkin? Maybe up here. Oops. So that's where we're at right now. I have a little broom. Let's see. I don't know if that really works there. Let's see. Oh, that's right. I had this metal bat. This is also a Tim Holtz. And I was thinking of sticking that right across the top. That would be cute there. So let me turn it. Oops. That was on my finger. There we go. That's cute. And then I have, I had a kitty skeleton. I have a bat. This cute little guy. I don't know where the kitty was. I have to find the kitty. I was thinking of laying the little kitty right up there like it was sleeping. Whoops. No. All right, more glue. I didn't think that was enough glue on there. It also, maybe it may not want to stick either. I don't have a whole lot of space for it to stick on there, so we shall see. All right, let me see if I can find some more goodies and find that kitty. All right, so I didn't film the rest of what I created on here, but this is what it looks like. And I hope you guys will enjoy the tutorial. It was fun to make it. Alrighty. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek of my Halloween project. Alright, and until next time, guys, keep your craft on. Bye.